Beyond the Badge is brought to you by the Edina Crime Prevention Fund and AAA Minneapolis.
Welcome to Beyond the Badge, a program about the inner workings of the Edina Police and Fire Departments. Thanks for joining us. I'm Sergeant Brian Hubbard. With mass shootings and other forms of terrorist attacks growing in frequency, local emergency responders need to train as though one could happen here. In August, the Edina Police Department hosted an event designed to do just that. More than 150 law enforcement, fire response, and medical personnel practiced on an active shooter drill at Regis Tower in Edina. Edina TV's crew spoke with organizers about how the training works and what they expected to gain from it.
It's a scene of chaos and panic.
Come over here, let's go, hands up, let's go, let's go!
Several gunmen have stormed a building at Regis's Edina campus, shooting those they've encountered.
Help! What's going on, you guys?
There's a shooter in the building.
Okay, come on over here.
Emergency responders swarm the area, quickly trying to figure out where the threat's coming from while checking on those fleeing the buildings.
Come on, keep your hands up if you can. Come on out.
The goal is to gain control of the scene by pulling people to safety while also trying to establish a perimeter.
We have a shared channel. We're looking for a shooter. In the stairwell. Second floor.
Thankfully, this is a practice drill.
It's a very large undertaking, largest one that I have ever organized.
Edina Police Lieutenant Brian Tholen spent months planning this large-scale event.
I did a active shooter workplace violence presentation for Regis about a year and a half ago. They asked me to come and give a talk and built that relationship there. And we needed a business campus. It's a perfect area to do it.
But he didn't plan this alone. After several years of watching other departments put on these trainings, he made sure to collaborate with others.
They didn't have enough people on their committee. So I have 15 people who are working with me on this, and everything from lining up role players, 132 role players as of today, to we're over 150 first responders, getting the information out to people, the logistics of everything from water to feeding to safety at the incident.
One of those committee members was Edina paramedic firefighter Pete Knably.
So you are not breathing, they should be bypassing you, okay? You're going to be in the tall building on the 4th floor.
Knably helped organize the drill and says training for mass-scale events is really about developing an adaptive mindset.
The point of that is we can't train for everything. We have no idea what kind of stuff that we're trying to protect the public from, what the setting would be, what the threat would be. So what we do is we train on how to respond to everything. So what we train is how to handle any sort of evolving incident.
Knably and dozens of other emergency responders work with police to form triage rescue teams. Their purpose is to reach victims and evacuate them.
How we judge success on in a real-world incident is we want to help the most people we can. Sometimes there's people we can't help, but we're trying to help the most people in the most way as fast as we can.
It's an exercise for us to see what we're good at, but more importantly, to see where we can get better at.
And while Tholen's hope is to never have an incident that requires the use of this training, he says they're much better prepared if it does.
Hey, this rolls.
At Regis Tower in Edina, Dietrich Nissen with Josh Schmidt, Edina TV.
This is the third year the mass casualty event has taken place. The first drill was at Eden Prairie High School in 2015, while last year's was held at Ridgedale Mall in Minnetonka. The Southwest Metro SWAT Consortium consists of St. Louis Park, Edina, Eden Prairie, Minnetonka, and Hopkins. It plans to hold another training next year. The new school year is right around the corner, and that means thousands of young people are getting ready to live on their own, many in off-campus housing. Edina Police Officer Bo Schoenhardt spoke with Edina Fire Marshal Rick Hammerschmidt about the little things you can do to make sure your home is safe in case of a fire.
Thank you, Brian. I'm here today at Fire Station 1 with Fire Marshal Rick Hammerschmidt. How are you today, Rick?
Doing really good. How about you, Bo?
I'm good, thank you.
That's good.
We're here today to talk about off-campus fire safety for college students.
Okay.
What are some of the things that students should be looking for as they're moving into their new campus property?
Well, you know, there's different kinds of campus properties. If they're moving into an off-site campus property, you know, they want to make sure that, hey, is the property licensed for them to rent? Because basically that's what they're doing. And then is the property inspected annually? We want to make sure that the property has working smoke alarms in every bedroom, working smoke alarms on every level of the home. We want to make sure that they have working carbon monoxide alarms within 10 feet of the sleeping areas. Other things we look for, we want to make sure that all the appliances are plugged into receptacles. They're not using extension cords. We also want to make sure that the windows and doors work properly. They open freely, they close freely. Things like the locks on the doors, we want to make sure that if they have deadbolt locks, that they're thumb-turned deadbolts and they're not have to use a key to get out of the property.
When I think of fire safety, rudimentary, I just think of cords laying everywhere, and,
Sure.
and kids are plugging all sorts of things into a receptacle and kind of stringing them out. But things that create fires in off-campus, what are some other things that create fires? What are some of the leading causes of fires off-campus?
One of the leading causes is unattended cooking. It still is one of the leading causes. But things that happen in college campuses that we hear about is impairment. Students will cook. Sometimes they may go to a party and have alcohol, so that can be a severe problem. You know, other things like smoking, smoking inside, smoking outside, how they discard those smoking materials. You know, other big things are candles. Candles is another big thing that, you know, they light the candles, the aesthetics is great, but then they leave them unattended. Or sometimes, I remember my daughter going to college, and when we went to her room, she had candles on shelves and they had nice drapery, and we're like, oh, we can't have that. So we got her battery operated candles. So if you want candles, the battery ones are the best, they're the safest. But again, you know, then also, like you had mentioned, electrical extension cords. They want to make sure that extension cords are mainly used for temporary use. They need to use power strips, things like that.
So you mentioned that a lot of the things are same in your home as well as off campus. There's a lot of similarities, and one very simple thing, just like home and with kids, is to have a plan. Can you speak about that a little bit?
Yeah, great. That's really important. Yeah, having a plan to exit the home, know your exits, and then have a meeting place. That's really big. What happens in fires is there's a lot of confusion. So by having a plan and having a meeting place, that way, you know, their roommates, when they exit the home, they know that they're out of the home. They won't go back in trying to look for them. So that's really important. Also, keep doors closed as much as possible at nighttime when you leave. That way, if a fire happens to start in a room, that's going to contain it there for some time and allow people to get out of the home.
Well, Rick, thank you very much for talking to me today about fire safety.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Brian, back to you in the studio.
If you have questions about fire safety, please reach out to Fire Marshal Hammerschmidt or any of the Edina Fire Department staff. If you've got an old baby car seat laying around, you may want to think twice before giving it to a friend. Buckles get worn, seat cushions can get ripped, and seat belts often become frayed from use. Ignoring these factors are not worth the risk of your child's life. Just like many other products, car and booster seats have expiration dates on them. The average life of a car seat is only 6 years, which is why you'll want to know the complete history of a car seat before accepting one from a friend. However, if at any point that seat was involved in a car accident, you'll want to recycle the seat altogether and purchase a new one.
The more use a car seat gets, the more wear it's going to take. So you might start to see cracks in the frame or the plastic, or the seat belts might start to get a little frayed, and you want the seat belts and the straps to be functioning properly, and same with the foundation and the frame. Car seats have expiration dates for a reason. You know, you want the car seat to function how it was made to.
If you're looking to recycle an old seat, AAA Minneapolis is hosting a recycling event on Saturday, September 23rd, starting at 9 a.m. until 4 p.m. The event will take place at AAA's Minneapolis headquarters in St. Louis Park. If you have any questions, give them a call at 952-927-2518. On behalf of the City of Edina's Public Safety Team, thanks for tuning in to learn a little bit more of what goes on beyond the badge. Until next time, stay safe.